I threatened my husband with divorce because he keeps pressuring me to have more kids after we agreed on one. Before we got married, I asked him probably a dozen times if he would be okay with just one child. I only ever wanted one. He looked me in the eyes every single time and said yes, one was fine. So we had our baby girl about 10 months ago. The pregnancy was rough, constant back pain, couldn't sleep, could barely walk by the end. Then the birth was even worse. I was in labor for almost 30 hours before they finally did a C-section. After all that, I told my husband Jake that I was completely done. One and done. He said he understood. But lately, he's been changing his tune completely. It started small. He'd see a commercial with siblings playing together and say, "Wouldn't that be nice?" Then he started showing me pictures of babies on his phone and asking if I thought our daughter would want a brother or sister someday. Here's the thing about our situation though. Jake works these insane shifts at a warehouse. He leaves at 5 in the morning and doesn't get home until 9 or 10 at night, sometimes later, 5 days a week. When he finally walks through the door, he's so exhausted he can barely keep his eyes open. He showers, eats whatever I heated up for him, and passes out. On weekends, he sleeps until noon both days because his body is literally broken from the week. So guess who takes care of our daughter every single second of every single day? Me. I'm with her 24/7. I haven't slept more than 3 hours in a row since she was born. I can't remember the last time I showered without her crying in the bouncer right outside the door. I eat standing up while feeding her. I haven't had a real conversation with an adult in weeks, and we can't afford daycare, not even 1 day a week, so there's no break coming anytime soon. Last Tuesday, Jake came home from work, and I was sitting on the couch, crying because the baby had been screaming for 4 hours straight, and I didn't know what was wrong. I hadn't eaten all day. My hair was in a knot on top of my head. He sat down next to me, and instead of asking if I was okay, he said, "You know what would cheer you up? Giving her a sibling." I just stared at him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him I was drowning. I told him I was barely surviving with one baby and zero help. I told him I reminded him that we agreed on one child before we even got engaged. He just shrugged and said, "People change their minds. I think you'll regret it if we don't have at least one more." Then he went to take his shower like nothing happened. The comments didn't stop after that. Every single day he found some way to bring it up. He'd joke about how I should get working on number 2, or send me articles about only children being lonely. His mom even called me asking when they could expect another grandchild. I finally snapped last weekend. We were having breakfast, and he made another comment about how our daughter needed a playmate. I put down my fork and looked at him. "If you don't stop pressuring me to have another baby, I'm filing for divorce." My voice was completely calm. I meant every word. His face went white. He asked if I was serious. I told him I had never been more serious about anything in my entire life. We made an agreement before we got married. He's now trying to change the terms of that agreement while I'm sleep deprived, overwhelmed, and doing everything alone. He tried to backtrack and say he was just joking around. I told him jokes are supposed to be funny. Being pressured into another pregnancy when I can barely handle the one child we have is not funny. He got quiet after that. Didn't bring up having more kids for a whole week. I thought maybe he finally understood. But then yesterday, his sister posted a pregnancy announcement on Facebook, and he looked at me with these puppy dog eyes and said, "Doesn't that look exciting?" I pulled up divorce lawyer websites on my laptop and left it open on the kitchen counter. He hasn't said a word about babies since.